should be on, I guess.
Yeah. Not projector is not. Office. You can send the link from my channel. Anybody wants to. Oh, yes, please. And the live on time.
Once Prabhuji's mobile comes, sharing is coming.
Sure. You can tell Prabhuji.
No, he's already
Okay. Yes.
batteries ఉన్నాయి.
Hare Krishna. Please everybody settle down. Let's try to sit a little close. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How many are excited to know what Lord Krishna is going to do on day 3? We're all excited to see Kurukshetra and Lord Krishna's presence in Kurukshetra, and Prabhuji is literally bringing that same situation, in front of us. Yesterday, Prabhuji, your explanation on Bhishma Dev, the way Arjuna was thinking before he attacked Bhishma Dev was really impactful. Thinking about it after going home also, that what a decision it was to finally pull that and start hitting him, instead of his heart saying no, and how Shikandi was in between, the arrows coming from his behind. Graphically, the way you showed, I don't think any TV serial also could have thought of that. Like the best script ever can be written, about how it was. And most importantly, the devotional aspect that you brought out, Prabhuji. I think these sessions are very, very important for us, because this story, this history, the saga is going to change our lives. Thank you, Prabhuji, for taking your time. Hare Krishna. Let us welcome this Chaitanya Charan Prabhu with 3 loud enthusiastic.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasilakaya Chakshurunlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dear Lord, please guide us so that this complicated world we can always act in a way that brings us closer to you and closer to doing your will. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. This is it.
Yes, sir.
Hare, it's grateful to be here again. And we continue. Today we'll see 11th, 12th, and 13th days. If we get time, we'll go to the 14th day also. So each day, I'll try to focus on one particular theme The theme was with Bhishma was about the tension between dharma and bhakti. Broadly speaking, that was the theme. Today we'll focus on the theme of right and wrong action. So when we do action, is the action somebody does an action, was it right or was it wrong? Now we could decide it. It only needs to. Will that be that is so good. So now, when we talk about the right or wrong actions, one can be in terms of morality, that it was the immoral thing to do. But the other can simply be in terms of functionality. Functionality means that, say somebody decides to drive in a car over 100-mile distance. And then say that car, like nowadays there's this, the cars which don't run on fuel, electric cars. They need to be recharged regularly. If somebody decides to drive in that car and they go on a road where there's no electric recharging device, that's a bad decision. But it's not a moral decision. It's a functionally wrong decision. So generally when people work together, one of the biggest things that can actually break relationships is when one person takes a decision that is wrong or that turns out to be wrong, and then the consequences are felt by everyone. The result of that could be that everybody loses trust in that person. So when that happens, how we see that wrong decision is very important. Generally, when suppose it was a wrong decision, we could say that the wrong decision was some. Now, how do we decide that the decision is wrong? Remember, I talked about intent, content, and consequence. That there are three factors by which we decide what is right and what is wrong. And now, when we talk about morality, it is often that we think we may have particular conceptions of morality, and different cultures or different backgrounds may have slightly different conceptions of morality. Now, when there is a group of people together, then generally there is some overarching agreement about morality. Say, if we are in a spiritual community, we understand that meat eating is bad. In other cultures, even religious cultures, that may not be accepted. So there may be some relativity about morality, and that could be a separate topic to discuss. But you cannot have a group of people working together unless there is some sharing of values. Otherwise, you just don't know how that person is going to make a decision. So now when we work in a company, now we may have different values with respect to our personal lives. But when we work in a company, we have a shared value that we want the company to succeed. And the company succeed, we succeed. So basically, there has to be some shared values based on which people can work together. So when decisions go wrong, sometimes some decisions, the wrong decision is largely situational. Situational means that the situation turns out in a particular way. Like a doctor prescribes a treatment and the treatment has a side effect. It's contraindicated and the patient's condition worsens. Now, sometimes it could be that there is practically no medical research available that this particular medicine has this contraindicating effect. Then the doctor is not culpable. Although then the doctor may feel personally, oh, it is so bad this happened. But the doctor is not legally culpable. So that means situational means it's largely in terms of the result. So that means things turn out in a particular way, and you could say it's a bad. The decision turns out bad in hindsight. At that time, okay, it was a judgment call that was made, and It's in cricket matches, after a team loses a match, everybody becomes an expert. They say, no, they should not have given this team the bat, they should not have given this person the ball or whatever. This was a bad decision. But sometimes it's situational. Now sometimes it is a decision which is reflective not so much of the complexity of the situation, the uncertainty of the result, but it is reflective more of the lack of ability of the person. So it is, you could say, it is more of a personal incompetence. Now, incompetence is that maybe that person is not cool-headed, maybe that the person is not far-sighted enough, that that person is not a good leader. They could be a good person, but may not be a good leader. That person cannot take decisions. So this is about competence. But the worst breakdown happens when we start thinking that that person is ill-motivated. That person is, so one is the things turned out to be bad. The second was, it was a bad judgment call. The third is the person itself is bad. Is ill-motivated. Maybe they wanted to sabotage this for some personal gains. So this causes the worst breakdowns. So where, say, a couple is, husband and wife are parenting. Now each person, one person may want to be a little more lenient and one person may want to be a little more strict. Now how do you decide which is right? Now, there is no manual for parenting in one sense. Now, each child is also different. Some children may need a little more space, some children may need a little more structure. So it depends. But both parents trust each other. Both that they want the best for the child. But sometimes some decisions turn out to be right, sometimes some decisions turn out to be wrong, and the child is given too much space, and the child does something which is bad, and the child is given too little space, and the child feels suffocated, and the child becomes very cold. Now, these are all, it's not a moral decision. It's a decision where we could say that both people are having the same motivation, the motives, but functionally life is complicated. So when a situational decision means, if this thing is a little complex, as we move forward it will become clearer. My point is that when some decision turns out to be wrong, it's very easy to blame someone for that decision, and then we go away from that person. But to avoid that, how do we look at that situation is very important. So broadly, you could say that it is, you could say, something can be bad, it comes only in the result. Sometimes it can be bad in terms of the ability of the person to make a decision. And sometimes it can be bad in terms of the mentality of the person. So if the mentality itself is bad, then it's very difficult to trust the person. So, what can, mar is damage a relationship? That depends on how we see something. Like the doctor made a judgment call, the doctor didn't know about the side effects, and nobody knew about it. But say the doctor should have known about it, but the doctor didn't pay attention. So that is a question of ability. The doctor should have paid attention, or doctor was distracted and didn't think about it. Whatever. Doctor didn't read through the past case history properly. So whatever, it's a question of ability. Then you decide, maybe this is not a bad person, but not a good doctor. Isn't it? But sometimes the doctors try to complicate the patient's condition so that they can have a lifelong patient. They may say, you do 100 tests and 2 tests will suffice. So that is where mentality is thought. So now, why are we talking about this? This is because in this series, something like this happens. After Bhishma falls, and Bhishma makes a failed appeal to Duryodhana to settle, now the question comes up, who will be the next commander? Immediately, Duryodhana goes to Karna, and he wants Karna to be the next commander. Now Karna he appreciates the honor, but to his credit, he recognizes that such his becoming the commander would create rifts in the army. He says that most of the warriors who are fighting on your side are students of Drona, and they do not see me as a Kshatriya because of my birth. So you are making me the commander will be seen as disrespectful to Drona. And because he is their guru, they will all not fight wholeheartedly for it. It is best that you offer the honor to Drona. So we'll talk about Karna's character later. But now everybody knows that Duryodhana and Karna are very close to each other. And Drona is also expecting that Karna will become the commander. And a part of him resents that he will have to obey the command of Drona or command of Karna. So when Duryodhana comes and offers him, please guide my army, please lead me to victory, please become my commander. So Drona is pleased, he's relieved and pleased. He said, I'm honored by this and ask me for some favor. I would like to grant you a boon for having given me this honor. And Duryodhana is waiting for this opportunity. And he says, I want that you arrest Yudhishthir alive and bring him to me. Drona his eyes open wide. He says, Yudhishthir is such a Ajata Shatru, is such a non-inimical person that even you do not want me to kill him, but to bring him alive. So Duryodhana says that actually after seeing the last 10 days and seeing the prowess of Arjuna and Bhima, I have concluded that in these conditions, it is very unlikely that we can defeat them. If you succeed in killing Yudhishthir, Arjuna and Bhima will go mad and they will destroy my entire army. My plan is, if you arrest Yudhishthir and bring him to me, I will challenge him to another gambling match. And I will send him to forest for another 13 years while we consolidate our forces again.
Drona starts shaking his head like, this prince will never learn.
Then Drona says that, I can do that, but you have to do one thing for me. He said, although Arjuna is my student, but he has learned everything that I have taught him. And thus, he has become my equal. And on top of that, he is younger than me, and he has performed many austerities in the forest to gain celestial weapons. So, if Arjuna blocks me, then I will not be able to fulfill this vow. So, Duryodhana says, don't worry. He says, I will sidetrack Arjuna. And then he goes to Susharman. Susharman is the leader of the Samspatkas. And this is a clan which has had a long rivalry with Arjuna and the Pandavas for various historical reasons. And he says, Susharman, he says, no, this is your opportunity to shine. He says, challenge Arjuna and sidetrack. So, that is what, right at the start of the day, that's what Arjuna is subjected to. Now, one of the codes of war is that while it's a general war going on, one general fights with another general. And sometimes these plans happen by strategy, but sometimes a particular general is challenged. And then they start fighting with each other. So when Arjuna is challenged by Susharman, then he goes in that direction. And Drona attacks relentlessly. Now again, both sides have their spies, so they do come to know Pandavas what has been planned. And then they make a plan that Yudhishthir should be defended. Now Drona fights furiously. See, while Drona has been fighting formidably throughout, he has been under the shadow of Bhishma. When Bhishma was there, his presence was the dominant presence on the battlefield. But now Drona comes into his own. Drona fights like never before, and although the Pandavas have made plans to try to stop Drona, his speech is just unstoppable. And he comes so close that on the 11th day, he's almost near to arrest Yudhishthira. All the Pandavas' defensive arrangements break apart. But Arjuna also knows what is going on. And Arjuna uses celestial weapons at the last moment, and he just stuns the Susharman's forces and rushes to the rescue of Yudhishthira. And he's stopped. Drona is thwarted. On the second day, Drona tries the same thing, and this time he comes much closer. He destroys Yudhishthira's chariot here. He kills his chariot here. He even destroys Yudhishthira's armor. And within a few minutes, he would snoop in and he would arrest Yudhishthira. But again, Arjuna comes, blazing in the nick of time. And in this particular incident, what happens is not only does Arjuna rescue Yudhishthira, save Yudhishthira, but this becomes like a disgrace for Drona. It is so close. Sometimes you say you snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, and sometimes you snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. They're on the verge of winning, and just in cricket, you have some teams just at chokers. Chokers is that at the last moment they just malfunction, just freeze and choke, and it's defeat is itself bad, but defeat when you're so close to victory is humiliating. So the second day is a loss is especially mortifying and humiliating for Drona. And Duryodhana unloads on Drona. Just the way he was earlier doing to Bhishma. He says, you have promised me. And why is it that you are not fulfilling your promise? I cannot believe that you are unable to defeat Arjuna. It is only because you are affectionate to him that you are not fighting wholeheartedly. Please don't let your personal affection become the cause of the destruction of my entire army. Listen, I am devoting my forces for your victory, for you to fulfill your plan. Please don't let it go to destruction. And again, the same punching words or pinching words, piercing words. Now, if your heart is not in the fight, please step down and let Karna become the commander. Like Bhishma before Drona also feels the dagger of Duryodhana's words. Now there is however a difference between the two. That when both of them are extraordinary characters and both of them are extremely competent in war, Bhishma is also a devotee. He is a Vaishnava. He is devoted to Krishna. Drona is not especially known for his devotion. He was a Brahmana. He was a Brahmana who was especially trained in martial arts. So he succumbs much more to the pressure of Duryodhana than does Bhishma. Now, in one sense, Bhishma has devotional anticipation over there. So, but in the case of Drona, the way he succumbs takes this whole war on a downward trajectory. So in the next day he says that, tomorrow we will form the Chakravyuh and we will trap Yudhishthira. If you can keep Arjuna away, then Yudhishthira will be trapped. So now they decide to keep this particular information top secret. And the next day when the war starts, the initial appearance is not that they have formed the Chakravyuh. Their front line seems to be like a normal military formation. And again, Arjuna is challenged. Arjuna goes to the sidelines. On the sidelines, he is still fighting fiercely. And he is wearing down Susharman's forces. Susharman has a huge army. And he is also not an ordinary warrior. No match to Arjuna. But Arjuna is hoping that on one of the days he will just finish off Susdaman's army, and that itself will be a significant victory for him. But after Arjuna is gone on the sidelines of the main war, then quickly they reform their military, and then it's revealed that they have formed the Chakra. The Pandavas immediately regroup. What do we do about this? They know that the only person apart from Arjuna who knows how to break the Chakravyuh is Abhimanyu. So they call Abhimanyu to Yudhishthir and Bhima especially. They tell him, now is the time for you to show your heroism. Just break the Chakravyuh and save our army. Now, Yudhishthir himself is conflicted about this plan. Because Abhimanyu is young, and although there's always the risk of death and injury in the war. But there are some missions that are far more dangerous than others. Normally, when two warriors are fighting, if one of them gets injured, they can retreat or somebody else can come to their rescue. But in this case, this is a high stakes mission. So, Abhimanyu is also apprehensive. He says, I will do whatever you say. At the same time, I need to inform you that I do not know how to come out of the Chakravyuh. Once I go in, I will be trapped. Bhima says, yes, we have thought about this. Our plan is, if you just break the Chakravyuh, then we will follow you inside. And this particular military formation is indestructible from outside, but it is vulnerable from inside. From inside, we will destroy it. And Abhimanyu nods his head. It is a reasonable plan. And he marches forward. And the Pandavas follow closely, except for Arjuna. And then he challenges. Drona is there at the main defensive formation. He challenges Drona and then he attacks Drona, and his attack is so ferocious. Even Drona is stunned, and he then dodges Drona's counterattack and races to what he knows is the vulnerable point. And then he breaks the Chakravyuh and he marches in. See, breaking the Chakravyuh means what basically? That there are soldiers in fierce formation, and they are told that you just, no matter what happens, you just hold your ground. And there's one set of soldiers, second set of soldiers, third set of soldiers, fourth set of soldiers. They are in army. The first fall, the second is there, third is there, fourth is there. And they are all told to hold their ground. And the formation is such that there are powerful generals who will support the soldiers over there. So now there are certain vulnerable points which Abhimanyu attacks. And when he attacks, the attack is so ferocious that while the warriors, even the ordinary soldiers, have a certain level of heroism, nobody wants to go into certain death. So what happens when they see the first line, second line, third line, all of them are just falling one after another. So the soldiers in panic flee. And that's how the Chakravyuh opens. And when the Chakravyuh opens, Abhimanyu races in. And the Pandavas are following. And now because Abhimanyu's attack is so ferocious that no ordinary soldiers will come in to block the Chakravyuh. And the warriors who are there, they have been stunned by, they've been injured, or at least temporarily stopped by the sheer force of the attack. The Pandavas' plan seems to be working. And they're about to go in. But then suddenly, Jayadratha comes in. Till now, Jayadratha is one of the warriors, but he is not known to be a particularly significant warrior. In fact, when the two forces are assessed at the start of the Bhagavad Gita, as is described in the first chapter, there is no mention of Jayadratha, neither by Duryodhana initially, when we describe the two forces, nor later when the conches are blown and who are all blowing conches is mentioned. Now it's interesting that although there is no mention here, in the Virat Rupadarshi, Krishna mentioned that Bhishmam cha Dronam cha Jayadratham cha. All these warriors, their death is arranged by me. So that's a significant point over there. But here, Jayadratha is not a formidable threat. And everybody is surprised, shocked that Jayadratha is ready to stand up. It will be courting death. But Jayadratha has a history with the Pandavas. When, although he was a relative of the Pandavas, he was, I think, the brother of Duryodhana's wife. Sorry? Dushyala's husband, yeah. So he had a relationship with the Pandavas, but once when they were going through the he was going through the forest from one kingdom to another, he happened to pass by the area where the Pandavas were living. And there was Draupadi nearby. She was collecting some flowers for their fire sacrifice. And seeing her beauty, he becomes captive. And he approaches her, accosts her, and then abducts her. Although he knows that she is married, he knows that she is married to the Pandavas, that Pandavas are powerful and they are all related to her. He still abducts her. And then the Pandavas race to the point and they defeat him, they arrest him. Bhima wants to kill him right away. But Arjuna and Bhima go there. So Arjuna says, let's go to Yudhishthira, let's see what he has to decide. And now this is a serious crime. The Atatainas are different kinds of aggressors. And one of them is someone who abducts a woman. So then Yudhishthira, they want to kill him, they could be justified. Yudhishthira says that no, he is our relative ultimately. So he warns him and lets him go. And now they don't want to just let him go. So one of the ways that they want to make sure that he learns a lesson and remembers the lesson is that they shave off his hair. So it's a sign of humiliating somebody. But more than humiliation, it's a sign that he has been defeated and that he accepts that he is subordinate to the Kauravas. To the Pandavas in this case. In some places in the Bhagavatam, the Pandavas are referred to as Kauravas because they are the Kuru dynasty only. But now, instead of accepting that he did something wrong, he feels that he has been wronged and he was humiliated like this. And he performs severe austerities to please Lord Shiva. And he says that I want to kill the Pandavas. Lord Shiva appears and says, Arjuna is protected by Krishna himself and all the Pandavas are protected by Krishna. He said, I cannot give you this benediction. But no, I worshipped you. I did austerity, you have appeared. Will your darshan go in vain for me? He says, I can grant you one benediction. Can all of you hear me? Yes. The resistance is better. So, apart from Arjuna, all the other Pandavas, you will be able to hold back and defeat once. Now, he has not told anyone about this particular boon. And this is the boon that he deploys. And Bhima and Yudhishthira and Satyaki and Dhritarashtra, all of them are attacking. But Jayadratha seems to hold everyone back. Everybody is stunned. The Kaurava forces start cheering, the Pandava forces start panicking. Bhima attacks as furiously as he can. But Bhima is much better with a mace than with bow and arrow. Now he's shooting with bows and arrows and he charges towards Jayadratha. But even before he can reach Jayadratha's attack, in this case, is so fast and furious that even Bhima is checked. And as the Pandavas watch in increasing horror, the soldiers regroup and the chakra closes. And Abhimanyu is trapped inside. Now, Abhimanyu has been fighting so furiously that he doesn't even notice what is happening. He has no time. He's inside the enemy ranks. He's just fighting his enemies. He doesn't even notice that nobody's following him. He's far into the enemy ranks, attacking and destroying whoever challenges him before he realizes that he's been trapped. He fights like never before. And everyone in the Kaurava ranks is defeated. Then Drona is defeated, Karna is defeated, Duryodhana is defeated, Dushasana is defeated, Ashwatthama is defeated. No one can face Arjuna. Sorry, Abhimanyu. Arjuna's son Abhimanyu. And Karna tries twice. And for him, Karna feels his destiny is to defeat Arjuna. And it's especially humiliating that he can't even defeat Arjuna's son. So he finally goes to Duryodhana and he says, Duryodhana says, our army is being destroyed by Subhadra's son. What are you going to do? So Arjuna says that I tried my best. He seems too good. He says, there's only one person. He says, you have to approach Drona. He is your commander. He will surely have some trick up his sleeve. See, Karna is an excellent archer, so one of the top archers, but he has never been a leader of a huge army, where different tricks could be used. So he says, you have to ask Drona. Now, in some narratives, it is Shakuni who comes up with the idea, but in the main version of the Mahabharat that we have, this is one of the dark days in Drona's life, where what he does. So he comes. So Duryodhana and Karna both go to Drona. And he says, our army is being, now Drona is watching, Drona is also being repulsed. And he says, and Drona tells Duryodhana, can you see how skilled Arjuna's son is? Duryodhana is incensed. He says, you are going to defend my army, not admire my enemy. And one said Drona is appreciating that not only has Arjuna become such a great student, Arjuna has become such a great teacher that he has trained Abhimanyu. And so we all have multiple roles. So there is Drona as the commander and there is Drona as the teacher. So Drona as the teacher cannot just, any teacher marvels when they see a good student. Sometimes if somebody is a teacher and they are also debating with someone, they will be a debater, they want to defeat the opposite side. But the opposite side is brilliant. As a teacher, you will appreciate it. This is such an intelligent person, such a good debater. So there's that part of Drona as a teacher, just appreciates. And that part infuriates Duryodhana. So he says, what are you going to do about this? So Drona becomes pensive. He says, none of us alone will be able to defeat Arjuna's son. There is, however, one way. Drona himself hesitates, he says, but he feels that he's the commander and it is his duty to protect his army, whatever happens. And this is where Duryodhana's bad association, it starts affecting Drona also. Not in the same way that it affects Karna, we'll talk about that, but Duryodhana's relentless pressuring. Because what happens is when we take something from someone, there are certain expectations that come with it. So when he takes the role of the commander, the expectation is that he should lead the army to victory, or at least prevent the army from being destroyed, which is true. But we have certain goals, and the difference between the virtuous people and the vicious people, in one way, in one sense, if you can say, the Devtas and the Asuras. It is not that the Devtas are pure devotees. Devtas also have materialistic goals. Devtas also want Aishwarya, Devtas also have Apsaras. The Devtas and Asuras, both, you can say to some extent, are materialistic. But the difference is that the Asuras, the Devtas live within boundaries. Where the Asuras, they have no boundaries. Now, of course, the Devatas may also sometimes violate boundaries, some boundaries, but in general, a person's character can be known both by what goals they are pursuing and to what extent are they ready to go to pursue the goals. Okay, everybody wants to be successful. We want to be successful in our companies, we want to be successful in our society, wherever it is. So every cricket team wants to be successful. But how far do you go? You can play mind games, you can do certain things to try to intimidate or distract the opponents. That's a part of cleverness. That's just part of the game. But suppose one team tries to arrange so that the food of the other team is poisoned. And then everybody is sick and nobody can play. And this team just gets a walkout. Now that is going too far. So there are boundaries which everybody. This is the line. This is where I draw a line. I will not go any further. I want to succeed, but I won't go any further than this. In the way of there's office politics. Sometimes you network with this people and you network with that person so that you rise up. And then sometimes you speak something about somebody in a negative way. All those things happen. But no matter what we do, in office politics, we won't bring a person's family. We won't spread rumors about their family. So there are boundaries. So sometimes a person's character is seen by what are their boundaries. See, we all can be good in our good moments. But in bad moments, we will become to some extent bad. We get angry, we may yell. But even in our worst moments, there are some boundaries that we may not cross. Even when we get angry, we may yell at someone. But while yelling, we may not use foul words. We may not use swear words. We may not use cuss words. So basically, that's one boundary. Or no matter how much angry we get, we don't hit someone. So there are certain boundaries we don't cross. But unfortunately, what happens when the person's character is a bit questionable, then their boundaries become very malleable. Their boundaries become very stretchable. This is what happens to Drona over here. And Drona says, let 6 warriors attack him together. And when the 6 warriors attack him, then Abhimanyu fights heroically. But all along he's been fighting against one warrior and he's been defeating all of them. When the 6 of them come together and one destroys his chariot here, another destroys his chariot, another cuts off with a string of his bow, so another destroys his armor, and he's just helpless. Then he gets off his chariot and he takes a mace and starts fighting. And he picks up a wheel and starts fighting. And just with the wheel he starts whirling around and hitting soldiers around him. But then his bowstring is broken, he's run out of spare bows that he has. And the wheel is broken by arrow attacks. And then finally, Dushasan's son challenges him in a mace fight. Both of them fight. And finally, sometimes 2 warriors can dodge each other's blows, 2 warriors can counter each other's blows, but here, both of them in a swinging motion hit each other. And both of them fall on the ground because of the impact of the blow. Now, this blow is severe, but neither of them is completely injured. They are severely hit, but because Abhimanyu has been fighting for so long all alone, he's become exhausted. His reflexes have become slowed down. So when he is getting up, Dushasan's son gets up and picks up his mace and smashes Abhimanyu's head. And Abhimanyu dies at that particular time. And the Kauravas celebrate. There is very little to celebrate actually, but it's an act of cowardice. But at least they have defeated Abhimanyu. And when they celebrate at this particular point, Yudhishthir has had a growing sense of dread inside him. He knew what was likely to happen when the Chakravyuh was closed. And finally, when he hears the celebrations, his worst fear has come true. And now, not only is he distressed that Abhimanyu has been killed, he's thinking, how am I going to tell this to Arjuna? And Abhimanyu has fought nearly throughout the day. and the Pandavas go back to their court. Arjuna has fought a long, hard day. He expects that one more day and Susharman's army would be over. He's coming back, but as he's coming back, he feels some kind of weird sensation. Something bad has happened, something inauspicious. And then when he comes back, normally when the warriors would come back, there would be celebratory music to welcome them all back, to lift up their spirits. On that day, he sees that their camp is filled with a somber silence. Normally, the soldiers would greet him and salute him. Today, nobody is ready to meet his eyes. The pit in his stomach becomes bigger and bigger. In the heat of the fight, he remembers that somebody was screaming. The Kauravas have formed a Chakravyuh. He had been so busy fighting that sound had not registered in him at that time. He had thought that if there is some crisis, like in the previous day, he would be informed, he would be called. But nothing had happened on this particular day. And finally, he started thinking the Chakravyuh has been formed, and the only person who could have saved our army was Abhimanyu. But he knew Abhimanyu could not come out. Has something happened to Abhimanyu? He tells Krishna, take a chariot faster. And then he jumps off the chariot and charges into the tent where they would meet every evening to strategize for the next day. And as soon as he enters, his eyes go straight to the throne where Abhimanyu would sit. And that throne is empty. Arjuna almost collapses, but he tries to hold himself together and he doesn't want to believe the evidence of his eyes. He looks towards Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira's head is drooping. He's the picture of dejection, the tears streaming down his eyes. No words need to be spoken. Arjuna understands what has happened. And he collapses, crumbles on the ground, crying out, Abhimanyu, Abhimanyu, Abhimanyu. He feels the pain not just because of the death of his son. He blames himself. And I went in the pursuit of individual glory. I went to destroy the army of the Susharman. And my son would have been dying. He would have called for me at that time. And I was not there for him. Yudhishthira comes forward with heavy leaden steps and tells Arjuna what has happened. Arjuna hears but still crying out. And he just has to lash out at somebody. He says, looks at Yudhishthira and he says, are all your weapons just ornaments? Could not one of you protect my son? That time Krishna comes up. All this time Krishna has been silent. Krishna comes up and pulls Arjuna into a side hug. And Krishna says, O Partha, in this world, bad things happen to everyone. The wise people and the unwise people. The difference is that when bad things happen, the unwise act in ways that make things worse. Whereas the wise act in ways that make things better. He says, Oh Arjuna, look at the faces of your brothers. They are in pain due to the death of Abhimanyu just as you are. Please, O Arjuna, do not speak words that increase their pain. So here, Krishna does not go into philosophy. He says, just 13 days ago I told you, Dehinos Vindhathe, Kaumaram Yomana Dhira Satranam Niyati. You are so dumb, you forgot that already? Maybe I should have chosen someone else to speak the Bhagavad Gita. No. See, there is a time to speak philosophy, and there is a time to be supportive of a person. A philosophy can support a person. So Krishna takes a pragmatic approach over it. Yes, this has happened now, and human emotions are natural. We may understand that the person is a soul and we are souls, but we are bonded together in a relationship right now. And in that relationship, we have a responsibility. And generally, when there is responsibility, there is an investment of emotion over there. So, to just dismiss all emotional attachment is appallingly inhuman, basically. It is natural that there will be grief. So Arjuna laments for quite some time. And that's described in the Mahabharat. Now Arjuna is processing. And then as he's thinking, Krishna's words, he's reflecting on them, he's reflecting on the events. And so yesterday we said, how the cause and the cure. That sometimes when something bad thing happens, we try to understand the cause and we try to understand the cure. So now, in general, when we act, we have to, the cause of something can be at multiple levels. So we have to find out, say, if something has happened. So, if I'm feeling cold right now, it could be the fan above me is on. That's why I'm feeling cold. It could be that I have not worn warm clothes. It could be that I'm not suited for this climate. My body is not accustomed to this climate. It could be that the place actually is very cold. So there could be many causes for what has happened. And intelligence means we have to look at some actionable cause so that we can address it. So basically, anything that happens. Now, like I said yesterday, if some guest comes to our house and you tell them that, they say, I'm feeling cold. You say, what to do? This world is dukkha. What happened here? Discharged? Can you hear me still?
Yes.
One second.
We are working on actionable cause. Can you check if it's working?
Hare Krishna. So there are causes at multiple levels. So we could say, why are you feeling cold? Because of climate change. Well, maybe there's a time when we go to a particular level of cause. So if somebody is going through some suffering, is it because of past karma? Maybe that's one cause, but that's not the actionable cause. So when we are dealing with we focus on an actionable cause. Now, of course, what may be actionable, different people may have different ideas of what is actionable. But then we have to arrive at some consensus. So as Arjuna is hearing this, he's processing it, he realizes that Mata Yudhishthir is feeling guilty. He says, there is one incident that comes before this that also reveals Yudhishthir's character. Yudhishthir, the Abhimanyu's death doesn't happen right at the end of the day, slightly before the end of the day. Yudhishthir becomes so frenzied with grief, he thinks that I, as a king, meant to be protecting everyone. But for the sake of my protection, I sent Abhimanyu, my 16-year-old nephew, who's just like my son, into the jaws of death. He says, fire on me. And he says, I will charge into the enemy rank. And I will avenge Abhimanyu's death, or I will die while trying to do so. He says, I cannot release Arjuna after what I have done. So he starts charging forward. And Yudhishthira is such a group that while Yudhishthira is very dharmic, if he makes a particular decision, nobody can deter him. Even Bhima can't stop him. As he's charging towards the Kaurava camp all alone, suddenly Vyasdev appears over there. And seeing Vyasdev, Yudhishthira still has the culture. He folds his hand and offers obeisances, gets off the chariot, and he tells Vyasdev, pours out his heart. Subhadra's son has been killed and we are distraught. I feel I am responsible for this. So Vyasdev speaks something similar. O king, calamities fall on everyone, even on virtuous people. don't lose your sense of purpose. He said that I foresee a victory for you in a short while. In a few days, you will be enthroned as the king. That is an elaborate incident. But the point I'm making over here, I'm not going to specifically into what Vyasdev speaks. But the point is, Yudhishthira himself is feeling guilty. And that's one sign of a person who is a very conscientious or responsible person. Whenever anything goes wrong, some people just want to shirk responsibility and blame others. And some people take blame on themselves even when it is not their blame. It is not not due to their mistake. So now Arjuna is thinking, and that's why, because Yudhishthira is already feeling vulnerable, they had made a decent strategy. The strategy was that Abhimanyu would break the Chakravyuh and they would all fall inside. And he said it was Jayadratha who was mean-spirited. He could have used his boon at any time, but he used his boon at this particular time, and he was the cause of the death of Abhimanyu. Although the final blow was hit by someone else, he feels that Abhimanyu's fate was sealed the moment Jayadratha blocked the Pandavas. Therefore, he decides that I will get back. I will kill Jayadratha before sunset tomorrow. And he says, if I do not do so, I will myself enter fire and end my life. The mood on the Pandava side has been very one of gloom. But when Arjuna takes this vow, suddenly the whole mood becomes almost celebratory. They know if Arjuna takes a vow like this, it is going to be a great day for them the next day. This happens on the 13th day. And now Duryodhana is congratulating Drona and congratulating each other. He says, Drona, tomorrow you form Chakravyuh again. Tomorrow probably we will tap Yudhishthira. And suddenly they hear sound of celebration. They are all blowing conches and they are blowing drums. They are celebrating. They should be lamenting. And then, Jayadratha, he has had his moment of glory, but he also knows some kind of retribution is coming. So he has kept his own spies in the Kaurav Pandava side. And they come running to inform him, and Jayadratha comes running. His face is white like a mask or like snow. He says, that son of Indra, begotten in Kunti, has taken a vow to kill me by tomorrow's sunset. He said, oh Duryodhana, assure me of my protection, otherwise I am fleeing to the Himalayas right now. And then he explains, what happened? And he tells that he's taken a vow. And he tells from the perspective that he has taken a vow to kill me before sunset, otherwise he will enter into fire. Duryodhana sees an opportunity over it. And he says, oh Jayadratha, do not worry. He is that, tomorrow we will arrange the entire army to protect you. Arjuna will never be able to get to you. Today, we killed Abhimanyu. Tomorrow, Arjuna's own vow will become the cause of his death. We will protect you with the entire army. And tells to Drona, will we stop her? He basically says, Drona, he looks at it for confirmation. He says, yes. Drona says, I'll arrange the entire army to protect you. But Drona can't resist the temptation. And he says, but even if Arjuna reaches you, and the Jayadratha starts trembling. And he says, even if Arjuna kills you, there is no dishonor for a warrior to die in the battlefield. There is dishonor for a warrior to flee from war. Chaitanya doesn't want to hear this. And Duryodhana says, no. We will protect you. And now Dronacharya is thinking that it would be impossible for Arjuna to cross over the Kaurava army and reach Jayadratha. But he's thinking that Arjuna is not alone.
Very well.
He knows Jayadrat's fate is sealed, but still he arranges. Now, going back to our starting discussion, we discussed that how this could have created a big rift between Arjuna and Yudhishthir. It was Yudhishthir's decision to ultimately send Abhimanyu. And Arjuna could have criticized Yudhishthir. There was passing criticism was there, but that was just circumstantial. So was it an ill-motivated decision? No. Certainly not. No. Was it a decision that indicated Yudhishthir was incompetent? Not really. It was a reasonable strategy in an emergency. If somebody had known that Jayadrat has this boon, and still they had done this without planning to sideline Jayadrat someday, then it would have been a bad decision. So now sometimes what happens, we'll talk about this in Ashwatthama's case a little later more, that when somebody makes a decision, if we have a negative view of that person, then we ascribe the most negative cause for that decision. That it was because of circumstance, it was because of competence, or it was because of character. Circumstance means it just the result turned out bad. Competence, this person not good enough to lead. Character means this person actually doesn't want us to become. So the more we go backward, the more that leads to the erosion of trust. So although this is the bad decision in one sense, but it turns out bad in terms of the results. So now what do we do? When some result, we discuss this, okay, that sometimes we could have the right action and the right result. We do the right thing and we get the right result by that thing. Now life is so complex that the right action can sometimes lead to the wrong result. And sometimes the wrong action can also lead to the right result. That's where in the history of science there is a thing called serendipity. It is sometimes accidentally you make a good discovery. So the decision is we didn't plan it that way, but somehow things work out that way. It's like in cricket, a captain doesn't have any good baller, and they ask somebody is a part-time bowler to bowl. And that part-time bowler has such bowling talent nobody knows about it. And only wins the match, but discovers basically big talent over here. So you say that if a wrong decision gives a good result, they say that is a master stroke. No, that is just luck. So sometimes the thing is that life is complicated, and there's a rush to judgment. This person did this particular action, and that reflects this about this person's either capability or character or whatever. Then that can be problems. So here, when Arjuna makes this decision, Yudhishthir supports the decision. Now, interestingly, Krishna is not very happy with the decision. Krishna tells Arjuna, initially Krishna also knows his point and supports it publicly. But then later on that night, they're going back to their tents. So Krishna tells to Arjuna and he says, Krishna, Partha, you took this decision hastily. It will be very difficult for you to reach Jayadratha and kill him. So you should have consulted me before this decision. Arjuna says, I cannot understand your anxiety. He says, you know my power and I know your power. Now, in one of the later retellings of the Mahabharat, this is the original Mahabharat. In one of the later retellings of the Mahabharat, what has happened is Krishna and Arjuna, they are such close friends, they sleep in the same tent. So Arjuna is sleeping soundly and Krishna is not able to sleep. And sometimes if we are not able to sleep, then we feel annoyed. But if we are not able to sleep because of somebody's actions, that makes us even more annoyed. And that person is sleeping peacefully. So
Krishna starts pacing out the tent and he says, "These are my devotees. They sleep and keep me sleepless." So in the later retellings, it was said that Krishna, mentally, although he has vowed that he's not going to raise any weapons, but when he came there, he came on his chariot. So Daruka is there, his chariot is there. So he calls Daruka and tells him, "Keep my chariot ready with all my best weapons." He said, "If Arjuna is not able to reach Jayadratha, then I will jump from Arjuna's chariot to my chariot and I will destroy the entire Kaurava." So the next day, the next day when the Kauravas, the Pandavas begin, they see that the Kaurava army seems to stretch to the horizon. Different military formations are there. So the particular military formation over there is, in this particular case, it's such that the entire army is there. It seems to extend over miles, and at the back of that chariot, it can't even be seen by anyone. So now Arjuna sees that. Arjuna feels, just see how Drona has arranged this, but still I will reach Jayadratha. And then the day's war begins. Arjuna charges and Drona has kept himself right at the front of the military formation. Arjuna and Drona start fighting. And on this day, you will see that there are so many ways in which Krishna helps Arjuna on various occasions. So as Arjuna and Drona are fighting, the fighting goes on and on and on. And Krishna tells Arjuna that your fight with Drona can go on all day. You do not have time for this. So Arjuna remembers that. And then Arjuna suddenly shoots a flurry of arrows which temporarily stun Drona. And then Krishna takes Arjuna's chariot by the side of Drona by the stun and charges ahead. By the time Drona recovers, He says, "Hey Arjuna, where are you going? You become a coward. Fight and stand and fight with me." Why? Krishna is charging Arjuna's chariot far ahead of Drona. Drona, in the groups now, Arjuna has to break through the Kaurava army to go ahead. But Drona, he's readily allowed to go. So he goes right back. And he also goes and positions himself close to Jayadratha. He knows that I will encounter Arjuna soon enough. Arjuna has to go through literally miles and miles of soldiers. So now there's a warrior named Shrutayush who has been given a mace. And that is a mace given by Varuna. And whoever he smashes, hits with that mace, that person will be killed. So he's fighting with Arjuna. He realizes I cannot match Arjuna in fighting with bow and arrow. So he comes with the mace close to Arjuna. Arjuna has been fighting with other warriors. And then Arjuna also picks up a mace. Arjuna comes and fight with the mace, although that's not his major thing. So in the heat of the fighting, he has been given that mace, he hits. He's trying to hit Arjuna, he can't hit Arjuna, and he hits Krishna. And when he hits Krishna, now Shrutayush has been given this mace, but he has been warned that he has some lower tendencies. He has been warned that this mace can kill anyone whom you hit. But if you hit a non-combatant with it, that mace will turn on you and destroy you. So he does not, in the heat of the moment, he forgets that. And he hits Krishna, and as soon as he hits Krishna, before the mace can hit Krishna, the mace slips from his hand and it turns around and hits him. And his head smashes apart. And the Kauravas lament and Arjuna charges forward. And Arjuna seems to be unstoppable. He's always been formidable, but the death of Abhimanyu has made him into a different person completely. And wherever he goes, the Kaurava forces try to hold him back, and they just can't. And they flee. All the military units just break and they flee. And then Duryodhana and Drona are watching, and Duryodhana says, he said, "Arjuna will destroy my entire army today." He said that. The Pandavas have thought their strategy well. He said, they let Arjuna go straight inside. While they have kept. They've engaged all our other warriors at different points. And now they have kept a significant number of forces around Jayadratha. He says, I don't have anyone right now to send to combat Arjuna. I don't want to leave Jayadratha's side. There is only one person. Who's that person? No, Karna is now here in this particular sense. There's only one person. He says, "You, Duryodhana." Duryodhana says, I think I might be able to fight with even Indra, but I cannot fight with Indra's son in this mood. So Duryodhana says, "No, don't worry." He says, "I am not. I have a plan." He has a mystical armor, and he says this armor means that he, no matter how many arrows hit him, those arrows don't wound him. He says, "I'll put that armor on you, and you go and fight with Arjuna." And Duryodhana becomes very happy, and he goes back. He says, "No arrow will hit him, no arrow will injure him," and he goes forward. And Arjuna is breaking through the Kaura forces, and suddenly Duryodhana comes and challenges him. And the Kaura soldiers are amazed to see Duryodhana's courage facing Arjuna. And Arjuna and Krishna both are also surprised. He says, it seems not only can we kill Jayadratha, we can end the war today. Now, a part of Arjuna knows that Duryodhana, Bhima has taken a vow to kill him. So, he will not be able to kill Duryodhana. But then, they start fighting. And Arjuna is fighting and fighting, and none of his arrows seem to have any effect. And initially the Kaurava soldiers are shocked, but when they see that Duryodhana is unaffected by Arjuna's arrows, Duryodhana is shooting back and holding his ground, they start cheering Duryodhana, and Duryodhana becomes all the more spirited by that. He says, "Arjuna, try, is that your best? Try more, and then I will destroy you." Now, Krishna tells Arjuna, "Are you out of form today? This is not the time to lose touch. How is it that the sun moving fast, you are not able to break through Duryodhana?" So Arjuna starts thinking. Arjuna says, "I know what is being done." He says, "Drona has given his mystical armor to Duryodhana. Now, in one sense, Drona also, in one sense, wants Arjuna to win. After all, he knows Arjuna's virtuous side. So Arjuna remembers that, see, ultimately there is no immortality in this world. No matter whatever arrangement is there, there is always some weak point somewhere. So, no matter what arrangement is, there's some loophole somewhere. And so Arjuna knows that this whole armor, it protects the entire body except the tip of the fingers. So he carefully points arrows. And Duryodhana is thinking, "Oh, this armor is invincible. Yes, you try and I'll shoot you." And then Arjuna shoots arrows right into the fingertips of Duryodhana. And Duryodhana drops his bow and starts screaming in pain. And he's screaming in pain. Arjuna and Krishna nonchalantly just go by his side and move away. So, in this way they keep moving forward. Now, in the meanwhile, Yudhishthira starts feeling anxious. The previous day, Abhimanyu had gone into the enemy formation and got trapped. He starts thinking, what if Arjuna gets trapped? Then he looks around, and he says, Satyaki is with him. And he says, Satyaki, you please go. And you assist your teacher. Now, Satyaki is a student of Drona, but Satyaki is also been subsequently trained by Arjuna. So he says, this is a time for you to help your teacher. And Satyaki feels torn because Arjuna, before going, has told him to stay by Yudhishthira's side and try and protect him. He knows that still the plan of the Kauravas is there that they want to arrest Yudhishthira. So while he's focused on trying to get to Jayadratha, they might spring surprise attack. She says, I've been told to stay by your side. He says, Bhima is also there. He says, Bhima is here. All the other warriors, they will protect me. He says, you are needed much more over there. And Bhima also assures him. And then Satyaki races him. And Arjuna has created a trail of devastation. Satyaki keeps following him. And as he's following him, Satyaki calls out, and Arjuna sees Satyaki, and they come close to each other. It is wonderful that you, Arjuna says, that you came all the way to here, breaking through the enemy ranks. And he says, help me today in this mission. And then Satyaki starts helping Arjuna in trying to get rid of some of the enemies, because there are too many enemies attacking him. And then after Satyaki goes in, Yudhishthira becomes further apprehensive. He says, Satyaki is also quite young. He says, Satyaki may also get trapped. Instead of helping Arjuna, he may get trapped. So he looks around. There is one person bursting for action. Who is that? Bhima. So he says, can you go in and help them? He says, I was waiting, when are you going to tell me? And Bhima charges him. And Bhima reaches Arjuna, and half the time it takes Satyaki, because most people seeing Bhima, they just don't have fight with it, just run away from him. And then, when Arjuna sees Bhima right next to him, and he says that, now that you, both you and Satyaki are there and you are here, I feel my victory is assured. And then, at that time, Karna comes forward. And Karna challenges Arjuna. But when they are about to fight, Bhima challenges Karna. And then Arjuna knows that a heavy burden is placed on Bhima. But Arjuna moves forward. And now Bhima and Karna have multiple encounters. There are two occasions when Bhima gets the upper hand on Karna. And there is one occasion when Karna has the opportunity. We'll talk about it on the 17th day, 16 or 17 days. When Karna has the opportunity to kill Bhima. But he does not. Now in this case, Bhima matches Karna arrow for arrow. And Karna is completely caught in fighting with Bhima. And Arjuna can go free forward. Now as Arjuna is going forward, relentlessly mowing down all the enemies, Duryodhana is watching with increasing disbelief and horror. What he thought would be certain victory for him is going to be about his most devastating defeat. And then those words of Bhishma start coming into his mind again. He says, how is it possible that one warrior can destroy my entire army? He said, it's just not possible. He says, maybe Krishna is really God. But one part of him says that thing, but the attachments in his no. He says, if Krishna were God, then Abhimanyu. No, Arjuna is very dear to Krishna, and Abhimanyu was dear to both Krishna and Arjuna. If Krishna were God, then he would never have let Abhimanyu be killed. And because Abhimanyu is killed, therefore Krishna cannot be God. So, in this world, the nature of the world is, if somebody wants to be a theist, there's enough evidence in the world to infer that from the organization and exclusiveness of the world, there's enough evidence to infer the existence of God. But if somebody wants it to be an atheist, they can come to that conclusion also. Like we often talk about design, how rainfall comes. Let's say the clouds are formed. And the clouds are like a mobile, airborne, airproof water tank. It's not the aircraft-proof water tank. It's a miracle of nature. And that's how all the living beings that live on the land get water. You can talk about this and the way things will say, if the whole mechanism of rains is designed to give water to us on the land, then why does it rain on the oceans? There's no water rain over there. So why does it rain on the oceans? So that atheists can ask the question and stay atheists. You can have 1,000. Suppose there's a palace with 100 rooms, and 99 rooms are very orderly, and one room is disorderly. So you can look at the 99 rooms that are orderly and say there must be some caretaker over it. Or you can look at the one room that is disorderly and there's no caretaker over it. So the evidence of nature can be used to justify atheism if somebody wants to do that. So that is what Duryodhana does over there. He says, yes, therefore Krishna cannot be God. We got to kill Abhimanyu, we will kill Arjuna also. So then he says, Arjuna is coming dangerously close to Jayadratha, and he says, we will use a last effort. And he says, previously we had 6 warriors stopping Arjuna, so Arjuna's son. Now we'll have 8 warriors stopping Arjuna. And he orders Drona and Kripa to come from the front. He orders Karna and Ashwatthama to come from one side. He orders Shalya and Kritavarman to attack him from another side. And he and Dushasan attack Arjuna from behind. He doesn't have the courage to face Arjuna from the front now after he's being injured. So Arjuna can see Jayadratha's standard, and he can see the sun sinking in the horizon, and he's charging towards it. Jayadratha, suddenly a heavy rainfall of arrows comes on him. He can't even see around. Arjuna is just whirling around in his chariot. His bow seems to be stretched almost a circle. He's shooting arrows in all directions just to hold off the sheer onslaught of arrows on him. So Arjuna starts despairing. He's so close and yet so far. Krishna sees Arjuna's predicament. And then Krishna summons the Sudarshan Chakra. He calls it and then he dispatches it to cover the sun. Now, some people say that a solar eclipse occurred at that time. Whichever explanation we take, natural or supernatural. The point that happens is that the sun seems to have set. Suddenly darkness spreads all over. And the Kauravas start celebrating. Jayadratha has been hiding behind many warriors until now. And he comes out and starts mocking. You are going to kill me? Should I light your funeral pyre now? So Arjuna in dejection starts putting his bow down. And Krishna speaks to Arjuna in urgent voice without even looking back. He says, Arjuna, there is time still. He says, put the Brahmastra on your bow. Now Arjuna has questions. His son has said, he says, there is a time for questions and it is not now. So he puts the Brahmastra. And Krishna warns him for this, that hit Jayadratha's head in such a way that his head is carried all the way to Simant Panchak, which is nearby. And there is his father, Vrudakshatara. The Vrudakshatara has known that his son will get into trouble. So he has also done some meditation and he's got a vow, got a blessing that whoever causes his son's head to fall on the ground, that person's head will split up. So now Krishna tells Arjuna that let Jayadratha's head go and fall on Vrudakshatara's lap. So now Arjuna takes the bow and places the arrow on the bow. And then at that very moment, Krishna removes the Sudarshan Chakra. And Krishna tells Arjuna, there is the sun and there is Jayadratha. Shoot! And Arjuna picks up the arrow and shoots it. And Jayadratha's mouth is open for laughing, and from laughing, it becomes shock. From shock becomes fear, shock becomes terror. He tries to reach his sword, but the arrow comes so far, right in front of all the Kaurava warriors' eyes. Arjuna's arrow just pierces Jayadratha's head, and his head is carried far into the sky. Jayadratha's body falls on the ground headless, and his head goes all the way to Vrudakshatara. And he's sitting in meditation. And suddenly he feels something fall on his lap. He looks, it's a bloody head. What is this? Just knocks it off the ground and gets up. And as soon as he knocks it off his lap, head falls on the ground and his own head bursts apart. In this way, Krishna protects Arjuna not only from the danger of not being able to reach Jayadrat, but also from in life there are dangers that we know and there are dangers that we don't know. So Krishna protects us not only from the dangers that we know, but also the dangers that we don't know. And as Jayadrat's body falls, the Kauravas start lamenting, and Krishna and Arjuna embrace each other. And Bhima and Satyaki are behind. Bhima is blowing his conch shell. This has turned out to be the greatest victory for the Pandavas. From the Kaurava perspective, it was utterly morale shattering. The optics of the victory was that the previous day they had to use unethical means to kill one warrior. And today, the entire army could not stop one warrior from reaching and killing another warrior. They cannot even stop one warrior. How can they fight against the entire army? So, after this victory, the morale of the Kaurava force was shattered. And this happened in the 14th evening, and in 4 days the war will end. So, the key thing is the Pandavas, and especially Arjuna, suffers a severe setback, an immensely painful loss on one day. But he does not let that divert him or discourage him from his purpose. And when there is a big loss, we can know that Krishna is preparing us for a far bigger victory. So Arjuna maintains his faith and his determination. And we can pray that Krishna give us also that similar faith and determination. When we face losses, Krishna does not tell Arjuna that you will never have any problems in life. It is Machittaha Sarva Durgani Mat Prasadat Dashyasi. It says you will pass over all obstacles by my grace. Obstacles will come. But when we face one setback, Krishna is preparing us for a far greater victory. And that is the faith that we can have from very, very dramatic and traumatic to some extent. Traumatic and then traumatic interaction, an incident that happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So I'll summarize. Today we discussed about, mainly we started about 3 things we discussed. One was about right and action. We can evaluate them based on morality and functionality. So sometimes some actions may be functionally wrong. That means that it is not as any moral dimension, it is just a wrong decision. Wrong decisions can be because of in terms of consequence. If they are wrong, then we just need to let go. Now, don't hold it against the person, because sometimes the results turn out to be wrong. Nobody would have predicted that particular result. Now, sometimes it may be because of competence, and then we need to make changes. That means that okay, maybe this person should not be the leader in this particular area. But if that it's because of character, then we may have to let go of that person only. You have to let go of the event. Sometimes bad things happen. So we discussed the whole incident about first Abhimanyu's heroism and his death. So it was strategically, it was not supposed to get that is martyrdom. That his death was not because the strategy was wrong, but because there was an unexpected factor. So then what did Arjuna do? Arjuna focused on an actionable cause for that particular tragedy that befell him. And that actionable cause means that he decided to target Jayadrat. And through that, the last day we saw that Krishna guided Arjuna throughout. Krishna was in more anxiety than Arjuna, but Krishna guided Arjuna. So what could have caused a rift between Arjuna and Yudhishthira, Arjuna and the Pandavas, and Arjuna and Krishna, that actually brought all of them together. Because they focused on a cause that they could all act towards together. And in this particular incident, what we say is Krishna's protection comes at multiple levels. It is when some target is unreachable, Krishna intervenes. When some danger is invisible, Krishna is also protecting us from that danger. So unreachable goal might be there, from an invisible danger might be there. And Krishna's protection is that one failure can often be preparing us for a bigger success. So when this pastime illustrates many things, but one thing that illustrates is that when we do all we can, Krishna does what we can't. When Arjuna had done all he could to reach Jayadratha, and yet he couldn't, then Krishna intervened. Krishna did what Arjuna could not. So let us all pray that through these dramatic pastimes, our faith in Krishna increase, and that even if we face setbacks, that we may have the faith and determination to be wholehearted in our endeavors and have the confidence that Krishna will guide us to a bigger and better place through the adversities that we are going through right now. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Ayom Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Every day of Kurukshetra is becoming even more intense. Can you all give some words?
We are also watching Kurukshetra.
We're watching Kurukshetra. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you are an amazing storyteller. How many agree with this? Amazing, really. You know, like, my God, like the whole script, everything, yeah?
See the picture.
Yeah. See, this is the difference between a devotee telling Mahabharat and some Bollywood. Really?
Rajamani is planning to
We have a contact of Rajamouli. We're going to send this lecture to him. Right? And we'll challenge him of his imagination. Bahubali to Hare Krishna. So, it's very, this is arranged by Krishna, as you all can feel, right? And personally, it was I told in the beginning, that was my dream that Prabhuji should come. I should witness, that was my dream. I was to see Prabhuji's lectures 15 years ago. And I was like, when will I sit Prabhuji's lecture and hear such series or anything like that? And now Prabhuji is right here, few feet away, and Prabhuji is doing these sessions day after day. And Prabhuji is extending himself. And one of the things Prabhuji told me, which I want to share with all of you, is he is liking the attention of the audience. Which means, he is going to extend more and more because
Is that the promise or threat?
it is an actionable cause. That's my takeaway, actionable cause. And there is a Kumbh Mela happening there, purifying the body. Here is a Mela that is purifying the soul. And how many were waiting for Krishna to enter the next day, when all this happened, right? Like when Arjuna starts and then amazing, the punchline in filmy language is a punchline. When you said, when Dronacharya, he said, Arjuna is not alone. Right? That was like this big underlying, the cinematic, line, Arjuna is not alone. Yeah.
The cinematic part was when Krishna takes Arjuna, you said by the left.
Side,
Actually see Krishna hugging Arjuna
in the hall. We are seeing that in the hall.
Yeah, in the hall, right? I mean, my God. And the most faith-giving statement among many statements he gave today is given by Arjuna when he tells, "You know my strength, but I know." That was unbelievable. I mean, I would want to keep that somewhere and say, we know Krishna's strength. Prabhupada has told it so many times. Krishna has told it, I am the strength in everything, I am the best in everything. Whole chapter is dedicated to that. Hare Krishna, this is a celebration of our spiritual life, Prabhuji. The celebration of our spiritual life that we are having you here, and we're getting an opportunity to host you here. Though we feel so fortunate, I was going with my wife, the other day after the lecture on the road, and I was driving back, and then I saw many bikes going by left and right, and some Benz car, this car, that car, all brands cars going. And I just looked at my wife and said, how unfortunate these people are. How unfortunate these people are that none of them got an opportunity to attend today's class. I mean, that is the most saddest part of our spirituality is when we see unfortunate people. I called somebody today and he said he's taking his wife to Ramoji city so he cannot come here. All glories to your decision if you're watching it online. Hare Krishna, I mean, like, how can you make the decision to be at the right place in the right moment? And how can you miss the presence of Krishna in Mahabharat? What our Mahabharat TV serials cannot show, Prabhu, you are showing us from the vision of Prabhupada, from the vision of a devotee, from the vision of scriptures. This is truly Shastra Chakshu. We are seeing it from the vision. And let's get it said that, Prabhuji should continue this. I wish now, why it is not 18 days or 18 sessions. So we'll ask us to cancel Prabhuji's ticket. That's not the point. But what Prabhuji has done is that he himself has told that, I think I need a little more time to do justice to this kind of a topic, this kind of a series. So Prabhuji has asked for the Sunday feast. Now, next Sunday feast also Prabhuji is going to speak, right? Yeah, very good. So maybe we'll start the Sunday feast a little early. Hare Krishna, behind, please, 1 minute, just a couple of announcements. So we'll start the Sunday feast a little early and maybe have a little break in between and Prabhuji goes even further, right? So something like that we can do. Instead of a 3 hours, we can turn it into a 5-hour Sunday feast if we want to. Because we want to hear this. Prabhuji is in Mataji. This you will not get it again. Even if you pay your entire lifetime's money, you can't get this again. There is a whole situation created, and we all are inside the Chakravyuh right now. So we need Prabhuji's help to get it out of it.
No,
Right?
we want to be Abhimanyu's.
You want to be Abhimanyu?
We trapped in that.
You be that. I don't want to. I don't know. Anyway, so. Here is Prabhuji's Hare Krishna. So some of you see some new faces today. Gita for Abhimanyu. Before it dies like Abhimanyu, Gita for a CEO. It's a beautiful book, very nicely bound. And you can get it signed by Prabhuji. You can gift it to your friends and colleagues and everybody. I mean, truly, make them successful by giving this. And you also have a nice Gita daily calendar. Now, Prabhuji has got already, I think, 20 books in there, and it's still going on by because he wants to gift it to every person he sees in his office, right, and all the leaders. And let me also tell that Suma Mataji, Prabhuji's good wife, she's going to America after a week or more. She works in Salesforce, and she's already planning to give this to the CEO of Salesforce. She's personally going to go and give it there. Now, actually, a CEO is going to receive the Gita. Right? And so can you. And so can you wherever you are. Nobody stops you from gifting it to an influential person. So, Acharati, Satya Devataro, Jana. So, change comes by changing the leaders. So, please take this book, more number of copies, get it signed, and you can gift it. And the sessions continue tomorrow also. And we still have many characters of Mahabharat. Maybe Prabhuji will continue a little bit of Arjuna also. Prabhuji, are you going to continue Arjuna tomorrow? Or? Right. You want to continue Arjuna tomorrow or you going to go into directly?
Arjuna will be involved in that.
Yeah.
Focus will be on Drona.
Okay, focus will be on Drona tomorrow.
So basically, we are going to change we completed it till the 14th day, now we go to the 15th day.
So it is the 14th day of war. Hare Krishna. The 14th day of war is over. We can enter into 15th day, and the focus will be on Drona. So don't miss it tomorrow. There are so many things we can learn, and so many questions. So all your questions, please write them down so that next Sunday feast we can use it mainly for question answers. And like I said yesterday, the question should make a difference to your life. Only those questions you write. Yeah? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Anup Prabhu is there behind. He has all the books and calendars. If you have not taken, please take them, give them. And please have honor prasadam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, and just one more announcement. Hare Krishna, one turn of your all towards me. You know, these sessions are being organized by a center. And if you can sponsor anything, any of these days. Today, Jayadram is killed. Who wants to celebrate this with the feast? So please go and sponsor. You can meet Sri Gopal Prabhu, and he will let you know how you can. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna for everybody watching online. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.